Breaking tonight in the Duck Dynasty debate, the Robertson family just released this statement, in part, quote, "We have had a successful working relationship with A&E, but as a family, we cannot imagine the show going forward without our patriarch at the helm. We are in discussions with A&E to see what that means for the future of Duck Dynasty." It's a huge, huge hit show. My next guest got a whole lot of attention today for defending Phil Robertson. In a Kelly File exclusive, we welcome Louisiana Governor Bobby Jindal. Governor, great to see you. And so, first, let me just get you on the record on your feelings about this controversy and Phil's suspension indefinitely from the show.
Well, Megan, thank you for having me. Congratulations on all the success of your great new show.
Thank you.
Look, Phil's a personal friend. We were friends before I was governor, before he had a show. He is always going to be my friend. He'll be my friend after I'm governor, after his show's done. He's a good man. I know he's got love in his heart, and he wants everybody to be treated with equality and respect. Here's where I think that it's so hypocritical of A&E and Hollywood and the left. They all say that they're for diversity, they're for tolerance, they're for minority views and opinions, unless you disagree with them. Now, I wish what A&E had said, what they could have said was, you don't have to agree with Phil, you don't have to agree with what he said or how he said it. If you don't like what he said, flip the channel, watch another show. And that's what's so great about America, that you don't have to agree with everybody, but everybody's got a right to their opinion, especially a religious opinion. And so I was very disappointed in A&E, but I think you see a growing political correctness amongst the left, where, again, they say they're for tolerance, they say they're for diversity, but only if you agree with them.
But they'd rather shut down debate altogether in some instances, and we talked about that at the top of the show. But our guest argued, from GLAAD, look, some things are so vile that an employer like A&E has to do something about it, because if you don't do anything about it, it's basically an endorsement of it.
Well, look, A&E is half owned by ABC, and like a lot of parents, I was kind of shocked. Miley Cyrus went on TV, did some shocking things. She'll be on ABC during their New Year's Eve Day special. That's amazing to me. So Miley Cyrus is on TV and Phil Robertson's off of TV. There's something wrong when that happens. Look, there's a lot that comes out of Hollywood that comes on TV I don't like. There's a lot I don't want my kids watching. There's a lot that comes on the radio I don't want them to hear. That's my job as a parent. It's my job to shield them from that. I wish I could trust it and just let them watch. There's no so-called family hour anymore. I think A&E could have done a courageous thing. They were courageous to put this show on the air in the first place. I wish they'd stood by their show and said, you don't have to agree with them. Just switch the channel. Don't buy the duck calls if you don't like it.
Now, some people are saying, because you mentioned the Miley Cyrus thing in a written statement earlier, how can a governor compare Miley Cyrus twerking and behaving in, to be charitable, an R-rated manner with a man? In some people's view, we played the statement, but in some people's view, he compared homosexuality to bestiality. There wasn't an actual comparison, but in the same breath, he talked about both of them as sins.
Yeah, but look, the bigger issue is not what he said or even how he said it. The bigger issue here is about religious liberty. It's about the First Amendment and the right to speak up and say what you believe.
But the First Amendment only applies when the government is trying to shut you up, not when a private channel like A&E is.
No, that's right. And look, I'm not saying the government should stop A&E. You're exactly right. Look, they're a private sector company. They've got the right to do what they want. I'm not saying they should do what they did, but here's my point. And I'm proud. There are some liberals out there, by the way, who said, we disagree with Phil, but we think he's got a right to say what he wants. I think there's an ongoing assault for those right now that are speaking up for the religious beliefs. I think there's an ongoing assault from the left, from anybody who dares to disagree with them, who are not so-called politically correct, who don't agree with the orthodoxy coming out of the extreme left. I think it would have shown a lot more courage, a lot more class, a lot more character for A&E to say, I'm not saying they had to endorse what Phil said, but if they had just simply said, you know what? He's a star of a show. He has these views. Wouldn't we be better if we had that debate discussion? If you don't like it, you go on TV and put your own show and say why you disagree. Or change the channel. Don't watch them. And the views, my boys, they love watching the show.
The views really shouldn't have come as a huge surprise to A&E, since he had been outspoken on this issue before. So A&E, I mean, they arguably come up looking the worst in this whole thing, because some people are accusing them of being rather hypocritical or sort of situationally ethical. Governor, it's great to see you. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you, Megan.
Now, millions of people tune in each and every week to watch Duck Dynasty, but fans will soon no longer be able to see the Robertson family patriarch, Phil, on the show. Now, here's why. In an interview with GQ magazine, Phil made his opinion about his faith and his views on homosexuality clear. He said, quote, "It seems like, to me, a vagina as a man would be more desirable than a man's anus." He then went on to say, "That's just me. And now I'm just thinking there's more there." Now, she's got more to offer. I mean, come on, dudes. You know what I'm saying. But, hey, Sin, it's not logical. My man, it's just not logical. Now, within hours, A&E Networks made a knee-jerk reaction by kicking Phil to the curb and releasing this statement. That reads, quote, "We are extremely disappointed to have read Phil Robertson's comments in GQ, which are based on his own personal beliefs and are not reflected in the series Duck Dynasty. His personal view is in no way reflects those of the A&E Networks, who have always been strong supporters and champions of the LGBT community. The network has placed Phil under hiatus from filming indefinitely." Now, the Duck Dynasty patriarch responded to the news in a statement to Fox. He said, quote, "I myself am a product of the 60s. I centered my life around sex, drugs, and rock and roll until I hit rock bottom, and I accepted Jesus as my savior. My mission today is to go forth and tell people about why I follow Christ and also what the Bible teaches. And part of that teaching is that men and women are meant to be together. However, I would never treat anyone with disrespect just because they are different from me. We're all created by the Almighty, and like him, I love all of humanity. We would all be better off if we loved God and we loved each other."